Have you fallen behind in your mortgage payment? I can sell your home and save your equity with a pre-foreclosure sale. Did you know? It's a great time to purchase a home while interest rates are low. Veterans, you're now eligible to reinstate your DD-214 with no money down. So whether buying or selling, DeVille Realty can help. Call or text today, 702-787-7559.
Come on in the room. We're all ready for you.
Greg DeVille, the real estate broker. Well, good morning, Las Vegas. I am Greg DeVille, the broker owner at DeVille Realty Group, and I want to welcome you to the Greg DeVille Let's Talk Real Estate Show. Each and every Wednesday and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m., right here at AM 1400. We're going to be going over the selling process, the buying, and yes, investment properties. Stay tuned for the show. Let's talk.
All right, good morning, Las Vegas. Facebook Live, we're back. We're here. We're here to share more great information with you about what's available in our market. As many of you know, the forbearance time, we're coming down to a close. The moratorium has ended, and so many of you are facing relocation. Some are facing evictions. Some are facing having to move with family members to deal with the next space in life. Right now, it's just so uncertain what things are, even with the forbearance. Many are calling me at the office, 702-515-4100. Let me give that number right away, so we won't hold you up waiting to get that number. But many are contacting me to ask Mr. DeVille, I have equity in my home. The bank told me that I needed to bring up the arrears that I owe for being out of work. I have equity. Can I refinance to get some of the equity to pay the balance of which I'm delinquent on? Unfortunately, you're not able to retrieve any of the equity out of your property when you're 1 month late in a 12-month period. So many of you know, technology today when you're dealing with phones and whatever you're using. But they were not able to take the finances to relocate funds, take the funds out of the equity. It's a cash out refi is what it's considered. Now, many can who have not had a late. You can get up to 80% refi if you own a home today. But if you're in default, let me share with you, if you're in default in your property, you may lose your home to the bank. They're going to be starting now with foreclosure proceedings. Now, with the foreclosure proceedings, I want you to watch your mail, because now that the moratorium has ended with the banks being on hold, they've given the banks to stand down during the pandemic. Now the reins are off. Banks are going to be reaching out to you, via mail. They're going to be contacting you. I know you're not answering 800 numbers, but if you're one of the ones in default, you might want to answer the 800 number. Now, granted, there are a lot of junk calls, and sometimes, weeding out the one you really want to speak to is challenging. If they leave the message, please give them a call back. Because what's happening now is the banks now will begin to foreclose. When you signed the original documents to purchase your home, you signed a clause in there that if you get delinquent on your payments for more than 90 days, some cases may have been 60 days, and the banks have, per your signature, have the right to foreclose on your property. They don't need your permission. They don't need your okay, your approval, your acceptance. You signed it when you purchased a home saying, if I go delinquent on my mortgage, you have the right to foreclose. If the bank begins foreclosure proceedings, they first send you out a notice to inform you that they're beginning the proceedings. You will in turn begin to receive other letters in the mail. One of those letters within 90 days, sometimes 45 days, may have a sale date. an escalated sale date. What does that mean, DeVille? That means the bank is considering putting your house on the auction block and sell it on the auction block. They're going to have in the letter a sale date. Now, you can't go back and retrieve it because it's on a sale date now with the bank. So if you know you're in delinquent status and you cannot catch up on your payment, you may want to contact DeVille so that we can put your property on the market and let's get you the equity that's due you in your property. Being that you cannot refinance it because you're 1 month delinquent in a 12-month period. So whether you're 5 months, what have you, all you need to be is 1 month delinquent and you can't touch your equity. The bank is not willing to refinance it. In some cases, they'll refinance without cash out. But even now, being that you're delinquent and you took on a forbearance, the forbearance actually, what I'm understanding more, is it wasn't a good thing. If you legally or were not laid off and you did a forbearance just to take advantage of it, it actually put you in a bad place. Because what happens now is you can't touch your equity, but yet you were still working. You wanted to take advantage of what was available, but you put yourself in a 12-month period now. You have to wait 1 year before you can refinance your home. So many of you in the forbearance, they're asking you to bring that current. So if you didn't pay your mortgage and you have the money, bring it current. If you bring it current, well, now you still have that 1 year, but you're current again. But what did that do to your credit while you were off on forbearance? It did report negatively. The system automatically does it. It's not like a person sits there and when a payment doesn't show, the system sees it. The system hits it with a negative 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, what have you. The system automatically gives it to you. So there are many who were not in trouble necessarily, were still working, just took advantage to not pay. Well, now you may as well have kept paying like, we did. Many have continued to pay. We did not need the forbearance. In fact, we made more money in a pandemic than we've ever made in our lives. It's amazing, but that's because the interest rates. People say, how is it that real estate got so busy when everybody was off work? Everybody was not off work. Everyone that heard DeVille show that took advantage to share with other family and friends and neighbors to tell them what's available due to the interest rates. That's what the big deal was. People took advantage of the interest rate. Right now, FHA, last I checked, which was this week, 3%, 2.875 to 3%, depending on your FICO score. Now, remember, a lot of things work predicated to your FICO score. So with that in mind, your FICO score is very important. Now, someone today, don't be discouraged because your score is a low 6. If you have a low 6 and you have a 401k, in fact, I have lenders with as low as a 580 credit score can use a 401k. Now, it's a little more challenging, but have I seen it done? Absolutely. So take the advantage to stop paying someone's mortgage, because that's what you do when you pay rent. Many of you are paying $1,800, $2,500 a month on rent. When I'm giving a mortgage payment of that, many of you, your mortgage payment is what you're paying for rent. So while you're paying someone else's mortgage, while you rent, take the opportunity to use this time, the now, while the rates are still fair. Now, some would say they're low. They're not at an all-time low. They're good. They're not great, but they're better than they were previous, years, because we've seen 4.25%, 5%. But right now, 2.875, 3%. But early part of last year, we had numbers like 2.25% interest rate, 2.5. Veterans down to 2.1%, which again, phenomenal. Now, many of you own your home today and you want to refinance to a lower interest rate. We have lenders on standby, can assist you with that. 702-515-4600. 4100. Greg DeVille, Team DeVille, DeVille Realty Group. We're here to help get problems solved in the real estate. Now, let me speak to this. It's a very difficult subject to challenge sometimes. Those of you who lost a loved one during the pandemic, there was no will. That property will have to go to probate. Now, I'm working with about 4 probates. We just closed one recently. I'm working with about 4 clients that are dealing with lost loved ones, mostly their parents, but they have to deal with the property. Now, many of them were in a reverse mortgage. Now, the reverse mortgage gives you about a year after the demise of a loved one to get it resolved, whatever you're going to do. Sometimes families decide to sell the home. And if you're deciding to sell the home, but there was no trust on the property, because there was no trust, it has to go to probate. Now, if there was a will and trust, even though it's a will, it has to be a will and trust. Now, someone has what we call a power of attorney. And you don't understand, but the power of attorney dies when the person demise. So the power of attorney goes out at the time of demise of the one you have the POA over. So it doesn't give you any right to anything. Once that person expires, so does the power of attorney. So keep in mind, if your parent, your loved one, your family member, your husband, what have you, our condolences to you. However, we have to deal with the fact that reverse mortgage is becoming due. Now, because you're not on the mortgage, because you're not in that trust, and there was no trust done, they died intestate, you will have to do a probate in many cases. So what happens is the probate court gives you to be, there's a family I'm helping, it's about 5 of them. They will give you an executor of the estate, someone that's going to be the signer. 5 people don't need to sign. The judge says, who do the 5 choose? Who do you want to be the designated person over the property? Everyone's vote counts, but we have one signer. So if you're dealing with probate issues, you're dealing with a reverse mortgage of a loved one, we may have to sell that property if you can't bring that current. I know many of you say, I have my own household, I have my own expenses, but I got to deal with my mom's or my dad's or my brother's property. Now, again, if there was no will, it will result to probate. Now, we handle those. We don't do probate. I'm not a probate attorney. But as your real estate agent, it is required that you have a real estate professional. I am Greg DeVille. I'm the broker owner of DeVille Realty Group. We assist in probate sales. Now, there's a process, and I won't take the time in the show to share it, but there is a process. Number one, you want to get with a realtor who's familiar with probate. Okay? I work with several law firms that do probate court. So we will set you with them. We will represent you as your probate realtor. Our real estate company, very educated on the process. 702-515-4100. So if you're dealing with probate and you need an attorney, you need a realtor, well, maybe you need an attorney. We know several. We'll give you a referral. You can very well go contact them, make an appointment to go and visit with them, take whatever documents you may have. Now, remember, when there was no will, a person dies intestate. What happens with that? The court makes the final decision. There will be an appraisal done for the value of the property. However, there may be an auction. Even though you get a buyer, it still may be an auction for the courts to get the best price possible for the property. Now, the courts will split the proceeds amongst the siblings. So there's a whole process to this. We're very familiar with it. Greg DeVille, Team DeVille, DeVille Realty Group, helping you if you lost a loved one and you have to do probate. So we can be a representative for you as a real estate company. We can help get that problem resolved. I know many are fearful. We don't know what to do. But there's a guy named Greg DeVille with his team. We get it done. This is what we do. 702-515-4100. Now, I want to speak again. Those of you who are in default in your homes, we can do what is considered a pre-foreclosure sale. Don't forget, pre-foreclosure sale. Gentleman called me last week. He says they want me to bring the balance of the rear current. But then there was another gentleman who was offered to have his rears put on the rear of the loan, of the 30-day loan. So they were able to put it on the rear of the loan. For him, it worked out. The other gentleman, they're not considering doing that. So it may not work for everyone, although you heard your neighbor get that exception. So it's predicated on your previous history, your payment history with the bank, because they'll take all that in consideration. You were in default before the pandemic, or you had noticed you had lates before the pandemic. So they may not, or they may. It could go either way. Again, however, you may have equity in your home. If that's the case, you have equity in your home, don't lose it to the bank. Let's do what is called pre-foreclosure sale. Now, the commission is negotiable. There is no upfront cost. Let me put this out here. There is no upfront cost to getting in or getting out of your real estate needs, whether buying or selling. No upfront cost. Not with the real estate company. When you're buying, the only cost you'll pay is when you open escrow, which may be from $1,000 to $5,000, depending on the purchase or the purchase price of the property. So, real estate can be very simple. Someone came into the office this week. We're considering a rental. And shouts out to our agent there, Alex Wells. He asked her, new agent, but he's been listening to the training we give at DeVille Realty Group. If you're an agent, you want to work with a team that's excited, we're doing things, we're getting things done, DeVille Realty can help. Listen, he asked, well, why are you, have you considered buying? And they said, no, we don't know that we can purchase. He said, well, I'll tell you what, because getting pre-approved doesn't cost anything. He says, let me give you one of our local lenders that work through DeVille Realty. Give them a call. Let's see what happens. Lo and behold, the Lights family got approved. They were simply looking to do a rental, didn't know they could approve for purchase of a home. Maybe that's you today. And you're looking to get into a rental, but you have a job, you have a 401k, you have some money saved, or maybe you don't, or maybe you're a veteran. They were veterans, and so they were able to use it, get their DD-214 reinstated. We have veterans on standby, lenders who can help get the process done. Somebody said, I can't find my eligibility certificate. And so they needed assistance. Guess what? The lender was able to help get it done. We work with lenders who work very close with the Veteran Administration. They help get it done. So don't put off what you can really get done. Don't put off purchasing a home when you have the ability. Don't put off, when you have the ability to purchase by simply just trying to rent. Let me say this to someone right now, is that you're in a rental, but you're paying a mortgage. You ask, how is that? You're in a rental, but you're paying a mortgage. You're paying a mortgage, but you're paying someone else's mortgage. They're reaping the benefits of the tax deductions, whatever else deductions comes with home ownership. They're getting the equity that comes in the property. My wife and I this week, we were looking into value in our neighborhood and what our home might be. And although we owe a low 270, it's worth 460. And we thought, wow, that's pretty good equity. So we're coming up with how exactly we want to use what we have. Now, we could sell and receive all of the equity out, or we could do a cash out refinance, use the equity but that's what happens when you have property, is you have the ability to use your finances to create residual income. Residual income is what happens when you take your money from the equity, the finances you have in your home. What do you do with it? You take the opportunity to reinvest it. Invest it into what? Into real estate, that continues to increase in value. That's what we do at DeVille Realty. We're a real estate brokerage that helps family, whether buying, selling, or investing. This is what we do. Greg DeVille, Team DeVille, DeVille Realty Group, 702-515-4100. Rosie, good to have you with us. My lovely wife is on too. Listen, tune in, share this information with someone, whether they're in trouble with their mortgage, they're on a default. If default is the issue, we can pre-foreclose, do a pre-foreclosure sale on your home. If that's where you are, because remember, all banks will not be just, putting it on the rear of the loan. Banks have to pay back the investor. Okay? Banks have to pay back the investor. How do they pay back the investor? From the monthly payments you make and the interest you pay on your loan. So from the interest, they're charging you 4%, but they're giving the investor 1.5%. Well, they have to show up on their investment side. They need you to show up on your investment side. So when you don't make a payment, then they're not being able to afford to pay the investor because it was predicated on doing the loan for you. So banks are looking to say, look, we're not going to be able to extend to the rear of the loan. We need you to bring the delinquent payments current. If you can't do it, they're going to recommend you sell. If you need to sell your home, let's do a pre-foreclosure sale, because they can either sell, they can either suggest that you sell, or the foreclosure bank side will. Now, let me put this out here so you understand. The foreclosure department doesn't talk to the mortgage side. When your file goes into notice of default, the notice of default, that file goes to a whole nother, it may be in Wyoming and your bank is in Phoenix. So your mortgage holder who services your mortgage may be in Arizona, but the foreclosure department is in Wyoming. They're not conversing with Phoenix, Arizona. So Arizona doesn't know the proceedings have started on foreclosure for you. So now you're thinking you're good, but you get a letter from the foreclosure department. We have started proceedings on a foreclosure. And you're like, but I talked to the bank. They don't talk to the bank. Because you signed initially, when you signed the documents to purchase the home, you signed an agreement that if you were late over 45 to 90 days, they had the right to proceed with foreclosure. You signed it several times. There are several documents. If you go back and read your document, you got a copy when you purchased your home, and you'll see that you agreed that if you got delinquent in your payments, that they could proceed foreclosing. They give you the opportunity to catch up, but at some point they put it on the auction block. Now they will send you, and by law, they have to send you ample notice via mail. They will try to contact you. They would send certified letters. They will send letters in the mail. Now, many of you go in the house through the garage. Go look at your front door, because sometimes there's a letter attached to your front door. It's a white paper with blue tape. When you see the white paper with blue tape, that's a foreclosure notice. So if you've only been going through your garage, and how do I know this? Because I've seen many say, man, I never go to the front door. And so because they only enter through the garage, they never go to the front door, and there's a letter taped on your door. It's a white paper with blue tape. It's from the foreclosure department. But I know you've been speaking with your bank and your mortgage servicer. They simply service the loan. But if you're and because the forbearance have held many off, the forbearance has ended. What are you going to do now? Where do we go from here? So again, I know you love your home, but life happens. So why lose the equity that's yours? You got that home, you'll get another home. CC Taylor, good to have you with us this morning. You got that home, Tyler. You can get another home. We want to make sure that we're getting you that equity that's in that home. Because if you lose the home, guess what? You lose the equity. Now, we're here to help you get, out of that trouble. You can't refinance it. You don't want to move. But the reality, if the bank decides that they're not going to let you put those payments on the rear of the loan, you don't have a choice. I don't care how much you love your home. You have to sell that property. 702-515-4100. 702-515-4100. Now, we're talking about And shout out to Carla Collins. She just joined the DeVille Realty team. Her family, just great friends. She got her passed her real estate exam, and new licensed agent, Carla Collins. Shouts out to Carla. And we're excited about that, to be able to see agents join Team DeVille. Very, very exciting. We're excited about what we do here. Helping families, whether buying, selling, or investing. We're having fun helping families. This is what we do at DeVille Realty Group. I'm live at the studio right here. Right now, veterans, your interest rate, 3%. So if you don't own a home right now, you can get into home ownership with a possible 3%, 2.99. But now, again, your credit score is very important in determining the better rate for you. So, but that's okay. Don't get hung up over interest rates. Why do I say that? Because you're paying rent right now. You're paying 100% interest rate with no ROI, no return on your investment. So don't get hung up on 5%, 4%. You're giving 100 when you rent, and guess what? You get no return. Who's getting the investment side of where you're paying rent? The landlord. He's getting all the investment side. What is that? The investment side is, guess what? They get the equity that's in the property. So you've been living there 5 years. The value has increased. I've been in my house going on 5. I got $160,000 in equity. Can you imagine what you paid for the landlord to receive? From the sweat of your brow, you go to work, you pay his rent, you pay your rent, but his mortgage, because that's why he needs you to pay on time, so that he can pay the mortgage on time. So very, very important that you keep that in mind. You've got to get out of the mindset giving your money to pay someone else's wealth, because they're creating wealth through equity from the sweat of your brow. So at this point, I'm here to bring that to your attention and make you aware of what's really happening. No one really shared it with me until one day about 6 years ago. Someone shared with me, and we were just conversing, and they mentioned, have you ever thought about how much you paid when you rented in Centennial? And so I said, I never really thought about it. I said, I paid $1,500 a month. And he says, well, how much was that a year? And so we did the calculation on that, $1,500 a month times 12. And we did that calculation. And then we took what that number was and we multiplied that. And I'd been there for 3 years. So we took that $1,500 a month times 12. And then we took that number times 3 years. It totaled $54,000. And when I moved out, now I had increased his value in this property. I had paid, $54,000 into the home. He only paid $174. I think he paid $180 for it. However, we were vested in this property from paying rent. So one day I was sharing the information on my talk show, and the gentleman called and asked, DeVille, I heard you say you'd been there 3 years at $1,500. He said, I've been here 5 years and I've been paying $15 too. So I immediately pulled the car over, pulled out the calculator, did the number, and it came up that he paid $90,000. Over the course of 5 years at $1,500, he paid $90,000 to a landlord. Guess what? The landlord was considering selling the home. The landlord was selling the home. He got a knock on the door from a realtor. After he found out he had given that much money, the landlord decided to sell the home. Many of you, you're renting right now. The landlords are going to be considering. Don't be surprised if you get the knock on the door. So why now is a good time to contact DeVille? Because you very well could be in position like the client last week came in the office to look for a rental and got approved for a home loan. That could be you. But you simply got to contact DeVille Realty, 702-515-4100. I want to help you become, get in a place of creating wealth through equity. Now, you're in a great place, your mortgage is not delinquent, but let's say you have equity in your home. Have you considered investment properties? Have you considered residual income? Simply using the finances or the equity in your home or the other thing you could do with the equity. Someone says, well, was talking to a family this week. They want a newer home. They've been living in their home for about 18 years. They were considering a newer home. So with the newer home, they were considering, how can we do it? I say, let's use the equity in your current home. And they said, well, we haven't refinanced in quite some time. And so we looked up the property equity, and they have $140,000. So in the 140, they can pull 80% of that. So how do we get the 140? So we look at what they owe versus the current market value. So from the current market value minus what they owe, gave them 140,000. So at 80% of that, you're entitled to 80%. Now, the 80% of that you can use toward the down payment on your next home, whether it's a personal property, and you don't have to sell your home. You can simply rent the home that you're currently residing in. But pull the equity out if you're current now. Remember, this only happens if you're current on your mortgage and you have not had a late within the last 12 months. So you're in a great place to use your equity. So let's do this. 702-515-4100. Contact DeVille. I want to help you get out of that real estate or trade that real estate in for something else. Now remember, refinancing is only 80%. Or someone said, well, we don't really want to be landlords. We did that before. It doesn't really work for us. Well, guess what? DeVille Realty can sell that property for you. Get the whole 140. Once you receive the 140, you can take the whole 140 or partial of it towards your down payment and buy the principal down. So let's say you put, $100,000, but you're buying a $620,000 home. Well, now you're only financing, from the $500 if you take 100 of it. Okay, so contact me for more information on how to do that. 702-515-4100. DeVille Realty Group. This is what we do. So whether buying, selling, or investing. So I've spoken to you thus far about buying a home. Stop paying rent, really what you're paying a mortgage when you pay rent. But you're just paying someone else's mortgage. So again, as I always tell everyone, take the opportunity. If credit is the issue, we've got credit repair service companies on standby who have assisted us, even myself and my wife, back in 2015. We were in decline of 2005, 7, and 8. All of those years were very difficult, challenging years. But because we were able to deal with the elephant in the room, which is our credit, we dealt with it. When we began to deal with it, for us, she gave me a game plan. Who is it? The lender. She said, DeVille, if you do this and within 90 days, you guys will be good to go. On the 94th day, we were solid with a game plan from the lender. So if you want to know, maybe you're not ready now. It's never no. It just may be not right now. But with the game plan, a strategy, if you will, putting you in position, it might take you 30 days. I've had a friend of mine, 30 days, they were good to go. Use the same credit service I did to get it on point. And in under 30 days, well, right about 30 for them, but for me, it was 90, 94. So, and I'm transparent because I want you to understand you're not the only one who've had challenges. You're not the only one who's had to rob Peter to pay Paul. You're not the only one who've had to deal with challenges. How do I do it in the position that I'm in? We have had lenders who tell you what to do. We've had lenders say, look, I need you to pay off this balance on this credit card. I need you to refinance your car. Debt ratios were a little bit too high. If that's the problem, there's a resolution. The lenders will give it to you. So guess what? Right now, 702-787-7559 or 702-515-4100. Either one, you can contact either numbers. 702-787-7559. You can text to that number. If you can't talk right now, text to that number or save that number. That's one of our front office numbers that you can text. So that is actually a cell phone that we have for the office. So when we're out of the office, you can still reach us. We can still be made available for you. We just need to hear from you. Contact 702 or text 702-787-7559. Or again, our Northwest Centennial, North Las Vegas location, 702-515-4100. This works whether you're in the Henderson area, Green Valley, we have an office there. Whether you're in the Boca Park, Summerlin area, we're located by appointment only with an office there. And of course, many of you know, you see us right there on Ann Road, DeVille Realty Group, 702-515-4100. We want to hear from you. We need to hear from you because right now, if you're on a default with your mortgage payment, now the reason you're getting phone calls and you're on default is because it's public record. Somebody said, I don't want anybody in my business. Let me say to you right now, ma'am, sir, you're on a list. And the reason you're getting phone calls if you want to sell your home is because you're on a public list. That public list is made accessible to realtors or anyone for that matter. It's a list that you can request from the title company. Or you can go down to the county recorder's office, go sit on those computers and pull up current notice of defaults. You can pick the area. And so I'm just here to let you know, you're getting those phone calls because you're delinquent in your mortgage. You made a list. It's called the NOD list, the notice of default list, which a lot of us realtors, we get on the list, we contact you, and we have, in our office, we have about 12 approved buyers right now of various price ranges. So if you need to sell your home, big shout out, Mr. Brandon. I took the listing yesterday. We're showing it already today. I believe by Saturday we're going to take it off the market because in our office we have 4 people at that price range that are interested. So if that person, whichever one chooses the property, gives the right offer. Now keep in mind, we're not in a lowball offer time. So don't come asking for closing costs because somebody's going to offer no closing costs to the seller. Guess what he's going to do? Well, let me say this. So let's put you in the driver's seat and you're the seller. And you get an offer with one guy who says, I need $2,000 in closing costs. The other guy says, well, I don't need any closing costs. The other guy says, your house is listed at $385. He said, I'll give you $380. The other guy says, I'll give you $387 with no closing costs. The other guy's reducing the price and asking for closing costs. You're the seller. Which offer do you go with? Just be realistic. You're going with a better offer. Well, that's the market we're in today, is they're going with a better offer. So when you send a low ball offer that says, I need, I want, can I have? And the guy comes in and says, I just want your property. I'll give you above the offer price. I don't even want a warranty. I don't even want closing costs. I have my own monies, whether it be down payment, what have you, that they're working with, but they're not asking. They're not reducing the price. So you as the seller, of course, are going to take the best price. And so that's the market we're in. Hey, Lionel Brandon, good to see you. Good to have you with us today. So listen, tuning into the Greg DeVille Show is educational, someone told me. But I love what I do, and I'm here to help. I genuinely enjoy what I do. Contact me. You can ask to speak with me. I have a team who very well is capable of handling. They listen to the show. I personally trained them. They're duplicates of myself. So you speak with my team. You speak with my lovely wife, who also is a realtor. Guess what? They have the same knowledge. We have educational classes we do each Monday in our office trainings that gives them this information so they're well informed how to assist you. And if they do run into a snag, guess what? They have my direct contact to contact me at any given time. So when you deal with my team, they're very well capable of getting it done. So although you don't get to speak to me necessarily directly all the time, and I do work, I still do real estate. I still work with clients. I just can't work with everyone. Of course, I won't have any time. I'm a family man. I'm a boaterman. I'm a boater. I'm a fisherman. I love to get out, So don't take all my time. I have a team. That's what teams are for, right? No man is an island. We have a team. 45 on a team. We love it. We're having fun. It's a great time. We're here to help. 702-515. 4100, 702-515-4100. Greg DeVille, Team DeVille, DeVille Realty Group. So I've covered on today's Facebook Live and the radio show, I've covered all the bases: buying, selling, investing. So whichever position you're in, whichever thing you're thinking about considering doing, whether buying, selling, or investing, DeVille Realty can help. 702-515-4100. Or again, text us at 702-787-7559. Greg DeVille, Team DeVille, this is what we do. So listen, it's a beautiful, beautiful day, and it's going to be a great weekend. We're excited. I want to hear from you. Contact us. Let's get the ball rolling. Whether you've got to do a pre-foreclosure sale, and I did speak to those of you who lost loved ones. Our condolences to you and your family. If you lost loved ones and you have to figure out what to do with their real estate, some have a reverse mortgage, some just have a balance on their home. You can't talk to the bank. Now remember, although you have a power of attorney, they call it a POA. When that person demises, so does the POA. So it doesn't give you any power any longer at the demise of that person of whom you have had authority. It's done. So now, if they didn't have a will and trust, it will have to result to probate. We offer several probate offices here in town that can assist. I'm very familiar with the process. We have 3 or 4 in transaction right now that we're helping families. So if you got probate, dealings, you got family, what are we going to do with mama's house? What are we going to do? Contact us. We have a team. We have a team of lenders, a team of credit restoration, a team of attorneys that will help you get your probate done. Again, it's just life. And I want to hit it from the real side, that these are real issues. The reverse mortgage, even if you're late, maybe that person hasn't passed, but they're late with the reverse mortgage payments. You will need to make those payments available to that. So what happens is, after a while, I'm hearing that people are being contacted by the reverse mortgage. So there's not supposed to be payments. However, we're finding that people are in trouble. And so they're having to sell their homes. And so with that being said, they need a realtor. You need a trusted professional that can help you get out of, because you're stressing, you're worrying. And let me bring a sense of ease, if I may. They can't just walk up and take your home. Okay? There is by law a process of which they have to govern themselves by. They have to give you ample notice. That's why I'm always saying, ma'am, sir, read your mail, because they have to send you ample notice. Check your front door, because very well there may be a stamped letter on your door. There's going to be a sale date. There's going to be a foreclosure sale date, and there's nothing you can do about it. If that date comes up, it's going to the auction block. But if we do what is called a pre-foreclosure sale, guess what? We can sell the home, pay the loan off. You can receive the equity, because remember now, if they take your home, they take your equity. You're not going to get a check in the mail. Oh, we have overage. No, it's not going to happen. At least I haven't, and I'm 30 years in real estate. I've never seen it happen. I've been in the game, and I'm telling you right now, if they foreclose any equity in your home, do the pre-foreclosure sale. No one knows you're in trouble. No one knows you did a pre-foreclosure. No one knows. But if they foreclose, everyone knows. How's that? Because when they foreclose, they put the white letter in the window with the blue tape on it, and it says in the window, this is a foreclosed property. So now everyone knows. So we do a pre-foreclosure. No one knows your business. We just sell the house. Hey, DeVille Realty, we get it done. We close the deal. Now, we put it on the market. We get an offer within possibly, 3 to 10 days. Depending, if you're trying to overprice it, it's going to wait. I got a property right now. The seller wants to fire the other realtor from another company, because they told them the price was valued at this. When I looked at, they called me to say, well, Mr. DeVille, can you tell me what the number really is? Because I'm not getting any action. And so he asked, I said, okay, well, let's see what it is. No, not the price, the realtor. So if you're realistic with the price, and although realtors are in the business, I'm not here to bash any realtor. Some may be new, maybe they're not qualified or experienced in how to maybe really educate you on how to price your property. But just FYI, the property is based on the most recent sales of like properties. We do apples to apples. So if you know that the home in Providence in your zip code 89166, guess what? If you know that the last home, same square footage, same year built, same zip code, same build, sold for 480, don't try to get 585. I don't care you put upgrades. It's not going to get you 100,000 in upgrades. In fact, if you put 100,000, you overprice yourself, because the value is going to, you put a pool in, you'll get a credit. You're not going to get $40,000 credit. You'll get a credit that it has a pool, but guess where the credit comes from? The last home like yours with a pool. What did it sell for? So it may be 450 versus the one without a pool went for 430. So you may be able to get that 450. Clearly, you're not going to get 485, 500. But people overprice because, of course, you think your home is worth it because it's worth it to you. A home is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So keep that in mind. If someone's willing to give you that, hey, more power to you. Take it and run to the hills. But homes are based on appraisal value. So although someone offers you more, it's always predicated when there's a lender involved on the appraisal value. So they may give you above appraisal value, okay? That doesn't mean that's the value of the home. I've had buyers to pay above appraisal. Why? Because they were trying to compete with other buyers. We're in this buying frenzy right now where buyers are giving $15,000, $20,000 above. Well, I heard there's a guy had a home, my agent in the Henderson was representing a home in Lake Las Vegas with a buyer for $1 million. He was beat out by a $100,000 buyer. He gave him $100,000 above the $1 million he was asking for. Guess who he went with? My client only offered $1 million. The other guy said, I'll give you $1.1 million. The $100,000 over got him the property. So that's the market we're in right now. We're in a competitive market. But remember, if you're in a loan and you're purchasing through a loan, the loan pays the max of the appraisal value. So although the home may be $450, but the appraisal value came in at $425, the lender max is $425. Now, if you're going to pay that additional $25, that will have to come from the proceeds of the sale at the time of close. You'll have to wire that money at $450, which is $25,000 above. You'll have to wire that at time of close. Okay, so just so you know, we're in this market right now that the market numbers are what? They're higher. And the numbers are up. So if you're looking to buy, it's very competitive. Don't come in lowballing. Remember, stay where the market value is. If you have a little money, I got a call this morning, the house appraised, and they were paying $5,000 above appraisal. So they got the property. That in some cases you may have to have a little money saved up. Okay, so listen, I've done well enough time on the Facebook this morning. I did want to get this information out once again. We're here every Friday. If you have any questions, contact my office, 702-515-4100. Greg DeVille, Team DeVille, DeVille Realty Group. Have a great, safe weekend, and I'll speak with you again next week. You be safe. If you're going to drink, don't drive. Have fun and protect yourself. COVID is real. Get tested and get vaccinated. Have a great weekend. Take care.